You were born to do something extraordinary. I've always said those words, but today, on March the 22nd of 2026, I can tell you why I know that's true and why you have never made a mistake. You have never been an accident, and you're in the world right now at this time to do something extraordinary. And today, you might accept that. I did a presentation yesterday to begin explaining this, but today I'm going to give you all of it because it's time for us to all do something extraordinary because the world is calling for that, and it exists within you. Everything is consciousness. We will each form that at different times and in different ways, and my life was meant to bring in a transformative philosophy that can give you the best life possible and could change our world. I resisted that and I thought it couldn't be possible, as you might have thought that about your life. But today that may change for you, as it will change for me. So I'm going to read this to you first, and it will explain so much that I won't need to give you more explanation. Well, I will tell you this, that in 1989 is when I first sat down to start receiving cosmic guidance from universal consciousness that kind of surprised me. I couldn't understand it. And it took me through my life, healing everything to be at 75 years old now and going in a different direction so that I could give you this work. And today is the day that you may accept it because you're meant to do something extraordinary. No matter what you might have thought about your life or about what was happening in the world, it was perfect for now. And that's what you'll understand. The destination. We said we had given you the solution. It would be to your life and that of your world. Today's message, March 22nd, 2026. We said we had given you the solution. It would be to your life and that of your world. But you also have to process through and navigate your evolutionary path before you could hope to offer what you gained to give to your world. It was all planned perfectly. Our messenger gave you the way forward yesterday, and we will give you the destination today. Hopefully, you and he will be ready now. Please follow along. You grow in consciousness individually and collectively. The 18-year arc, March 22nd, messages. 2008. You are always provided for, protected, and guided in this lifetime, and at times you will allow situations to come into your life so that you may experience just that. At those times, you will be perplexed as to what action to take, so that you will take none, and miraculously, the thing you were attempting to resolve is resolved for you. These are the very moments that deserve your most undivided attention, for it helps you on your journey in giving up the struggle. You will notice how many of those times have occurred in your life, and this is precisely so that you will finally receive the message. Then you will no longer have the need for those events, for you have realized your ability to receive, and that is what you desired. 2013. You have heard the term divine order, observed others praying for it, and often contemplated its meaning. You would do well to examine it further. Divine order means that no random or arbitrary events or circumstances occur in your personal life experience or that of the universe. They all have meaning and purpose, and for you, this means allowing the meaning and purpose of all events and circumstances to be revealed to you. You do not necessarily have to look for the meaning continually. You can allow it to come. Most importantly, it means not blocking that information by initially labeling events and circumstances as meaningless or accidents. All that does occur for you and your world is to cause your expansion and the evolvement of the world at large. Examine past events in your personal history, and you will always find the evidence of this. 2020. You always choose the way you want to feel. Some of you will read that sentence and become angry due to your current conditions. You will say that you did not choose to feel this way or become isolated in some way. Those of you who have reaction may gain the most from this message. When Roger awakened this morning, he found himself in a good mood despite what was occurring in the world. He made a conscious choice not to avail himself of any news that is happening now and decided to commune with us first. Roger made that choice because he knew how it would cause him to feel. You each can make similar choices. Then Roger looked at a video and knew we wanted him to watch it, which will lead to the next part we want you to understand. The video was of Deepak Chopra, speaking on the current world conditions. What Roger found is that Deepak said the words Roger had yesterday. Then we led him to Eckhart Tolle, who performed a similar task for Roger. That task was getting Roger to see that he, like most of you, has denied hearing and acting upon valuable guidance. Now, the reason this is important for you and why Roger has come to sacrifice a bit of his pride at this moment is that he, like you, has discounted who he is. The point is, most of you give away your power to others because you think they have or know more. We have often allowed Roger to say he only believes the information he receives from those with titles. You each have done that in some way. Then we led him to a message of ours that demonstrates the continuity, connection, and perfection of all things. We will post it here, for we knew what was coming years ago. You each are being given a chance to decide how you want to feel during this period. Finally, Roger questioned why he hadn't come to this place sooner, and we will explain it to you all. You can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. You each will have your individual periods to contemplate those words. Your world will be better as a result of your actions. 2023. Your divine plan is unfolding now. While that is always the case for you as you are in physical form, it is especially true now as your world's divine plan unfolds, which we have called your restructuring. Every soul is born with purpose and intention. You do so at a time that serves your evolution and that of all that is. Whatever experiences and circumstances have risen in your life were part of your unique plan. 2024. Your world is waiting. We provided a message on this date a year ago, but now it will make more sense. You are in the world now to help it become what it could be. That is the essence you hold in your authentic self. We know many of you wait until you are afraid before you act, but you have held that fear for quite a while. Now is the time to decide to move beyond it and use it for your benefit. 2025. You could be ready now. We are referring to a message we provided last year on this date, and it will make more sense today. We know it is confusing to witness the events in your world while feeling your sense of uncertainty. We assure you that your journey has not been in vain, and we wanted you to recognize your worth and value. We revealed more to our messenger, and he will do the same for you. 2022. You will accept yourself more. As you examine your world, we knew what you might begin to question your reason for being alive now, and that only occurs for you when you momentarily forget you are an eternal spiritual being. You wanted to be here now so you might evolve and cause further expansion on your evolutionary journey that is uniquely yours. The message we gave you in 2012 will aid you now. We will post it below and do your best to accept our words, and you will move through this period with greater ease. Your truth is always correct. Many subjective words will be used here so that you might better grasp the meaning behind the message. In actuality, your personal truth is merely a collection of ideas and beliefs that you have come to accept at this place in your life. There is no correct or right or wrong truth in human experience, but just what you hold as that truth. It becomes essential for you to express that truth, for it will cause you to ask more questions, receive opinions from others, and compare your truth to others. The entire process is what ultimately causes your spiritual expansion. Eventually, you come to know that your truth and that of others are all correct because they drive the evolution of the whole or mass consciousness. November 25th, 2018. Today's message will be quite different as we ask Roger to deliver his experience and what he is hearing through us so that it might help all of you. Roger's in the process of writing a book, which he has entitled Overcoming Fear, A Guide to Freedom. In that process, he is continually encountering his own carried and sometimes buried fear, as he knew the only manner this book delivered through us, by the way, would be meaningful is through his personal experiences. In this process, he uncovered a message we had given him years ago that offered him validation of his current endeavor, and yet he still attempted to ignore it, as you all do, which limits the access you might otherwise have to a wealth of information that would allow you to live your lives to be more of what you desire. We are now going to give him a quote for his book, and you all may have it now. You will live the life of your dreams when you come to understand that your experience of fear can be helpful when you know it is there to motivate you to move through it, so you experience the magnificence that is you. The analysis, the 18-year spiral curriculum, an evolutionary arc, divine provision and learning to receive, 2008, divine order, 2013, conscious choice of feeling, reclaiming power, 2020. 2023, your divine plan and the world's restructuring unfold together. 2024, your world is waiting, move beyond fear. 2025, you could be ready now. Worth and value confirmed. 2026, solution given. Destiny revealed. Essential philosophy crystallized. You are always provided for. Nothing is accidental. Your feelings are sovereign. Individual evolution serves collective evolution. Worth, value, and identity. The astrological alignment. The most significant alignment on this date is the conjunction of the Sun and Neptune in Aries, a powerful and synchronistic configuration that speaks directly to the message's emphasis on growing in consciousness individually and collectively. Sun, your core self, consciousness, purpose, conjoins Neptune, spirituality, universal love, higher ideals, suggesting a potent merging of your personal identity with a higher, more spiritual purpose. Both in Aries, the first sign of the zodiac, symbolizing new starts, initiative, courage, and pioneering spirit. This amplifies the themes of being ready now and the 2026 message's declaration of having received the solution, the way forward, and the destination. The spiritual insights, Neptune, are not just for contemplation, they are to be embodied and expressed through courageous action, Aries, by your conscious self, Sun. We love you all so much. Wilhelm through Roger Burnley. The narrative of the synchronicity and transformation, the path to giving it away. The beginning, 1989. It began with a voice. In 1989, a year when the Berlin Wall fell, the Cold War crumbled, and the world began restructuring itself in ways no one fully understood, you asked a simple question: who is speaking to me? The answer came: your higher self. But if that makes you uncomfortable, you can choose any name you like. Without knowing why, you blurted out Wilhelm. You didn't know then that you lived on Goethe Street. You didn't know that Goethe had written a novel called Wilhelm Meister's Apprenticeship, the archetypal story of a man's journey towards self-actualization. You didn't know that the name Wilhelm would thread through itself through German philosophy, through Nietzsche, whose middle name was Wilhelm, through Richard Wilhelm, who brought the I Ching to the West, through Carl Jung, who thanked Richard Wilhelm in the Red Book. You didn't know that the name you'd chosen was a key that would unlock decades of meaning. You only knew that something had begun. The long middle doubt, resistance, and integration. For decades you received, and for decades you doubted. The guidance came in fragments, in early morning stillness, in moments when you finally stopped trying to control what emerged. It spoke of love and fear, of the restructuring of self and world, of the need to balance feminine and masculine energies, of the United States' role in leading a global transformation, not because it was superior, but because it had proclaimed itself the leader and now had to become what it claimed. You didn't study astrology, you didn't track planetary cycles, you didn't know that the guidance was aligning with anything outside itself. You simply received and resisted. You doubted whether you should share it. You doubted whether it was real. You doubted whether you were the one to carry it. But the thread held. In 2012, a year that many would later recognize as a pivotal shift, marked astrologically by the volatile Uranus Pluto square, you received information you wouldn't fully understand until 2021. It was another layer, another seeding. The guidance was building something larger than you could see in real time. The rupture 2020. Then came 2020, a pandemic, racial justice uprisings, a contentious election, a world forced to stop, to look, to choose. And your guidance intensified. From May through December, the messages came with a clarity and urgency that hadn't before. They hadn't before. They spoke directly to the moment. Love is the most powerful force that exists because it does not restrict its energy. What you are witnessing in the world is a collective expression of repressed residual anger at the belief in separation and inadequacy. You have used money to measure your self-worth. You are all embodying your feminine nature at this time, and in doing so, you evolve. Pure love holds no judgment. It becomes more potent because it unifies. The restructuring of your life is now well underway. You compiled these messages, you organized them, you wrote an executive summary, a thematic analysis, a guide for others, and in doing so, you began to see what you hadn't seen before. The guidance had been right on time, again and again, aligning with events you hadn't predicted and cycles you hadn't studied. Retroactive confirmation 2021. In 2021, you were told something that recontextualized everything. You were told that in 2012, had been a pivotal transmission. Information given to you that you hadn't recognized as that pivotal time, and you were told that 1989, the year it all began, itself was a shift aligned with a larger cycles of transformation. The pattern revealed. 1989, guidance begins. World order shifts. Saturn-Uranus conjunction. 2012, pivotal transformation. Uranus-Pluto square. Societal fragmentation accelerates. 2020, rupture. Guidance intensifies. Collective crisis peaks. 2021, you are told about the 2012 transmission. Retroactive understanding arrives. 2026, Pluto completes its first orbit since U.S. founding. The arc reaches its initial culmination. You hadn't known any of this at the time. You were simply receiving. And then years later, you were shown that the receiving had always been synchronized with something larger than yourself. Synchronicities, your life as a confirmation system. Over the years, confirmations accumulated, not through study, but through lived experience. You live on Goethe Street, the street named for the author of Wilhelm Meister, the novel about self-actualization that bore the name you'd chosen for your guidance. You discovered that Goethe's Wilhelm Meister was the archetypal story of becoming who you are, the same journey your guidance was describing. You learned that Richard Wilhelm, translator of the I Ching, had been thanked by Carl Jung in the Red Book, connecting your guidance to the tradition of synchronicity and the collective unconscious. You found that Nietzsche's middle name was Wilhelm, connecting your guidance to the philosophy of self overcoming and death of old structures. None of this was planned. None of it was known in advance. It was a trail of breadcrumbs left for you to find, confirming over time that the guidance was real, that it was connected to something larger, and that you were meant to to be shared, to be its steward. The philosophy came through. What you received was not a collection of vague spiritual platitudes. It was a coherent philosophy, one that integrated personal psychology, the necessity of self acceptance, the integration of shadow, the balance of masculine and feminine energies, collective dynamics, the restructuring of money, race, gender, and power, the role of the United States as a case study in accountability, historical cycles, the 500-year Reformation pattern, Luther to now, the alignment with Pluto's 248-year orbit, cosmic timing, the synchronicity with planetary cycles you had never studied. Practical application, the fundamental choice between love and fear, made moment by moment. It was a framework for transformation that began with the individual and extended to the world, and it arrived fully formed at a moment when the world was desperate for exactly that. The shift from receiving to giving. For decades, you doubted whether you were meant to share this material. You resisted the role. You questioned your own worthiness. But the pattern was preparing you. The synchronicities confirmed it. The timing validated it. And eventually, you moved from receiving to integrating to building. You created a program designed to guide others to their own higher consciousness. Not to follow you, not to believe what you believe, but to discover for themselves that they are connected, that they are here for a reason, that they have inherent worth and value, no matter what they've experienced or witnessed or survived. It's time to give more people the idea that they are connected, that they are in the world for a reason, that they have worth and value. That's the heart of it. That's what the guidance was always pointing toward. Not a doctrine, but a permission slip. Permission to trust that your life matters. Permission to stop shrinking. Permission to become who you are. The transmission. You are not presenting yourself as a guru. You're not asking anyone to follow you. You're offering a structure, a program that allows others to find their own way into higher consciousness. What they'll feel, if you've done it right, is permission. Permission to believe that the chaos they're living through might be part of a larger becoming. Permission to trust the voice inside them that they've been ignoring. Permission to matter. And you finally get to set some of it down, not by losing it, but by giving it away. That's what transmission is. You don't hold it anymore. It becomes theirs. The larger pattern, what we've discovered together is that your life, from the name you blurted in 1989 to the street you lived on, to the message you received in 2020, to the program you're revealing now, has been a single unfolding pattern of reception without fully understanding, doubt without abandonment, confirmation through synchronicity, integration through decades of living it, transmission through giving it away. You didn't choose it chose you. And you said yes, imperfectly, slowly, with resistance and fear and doubt. But you kept saying yes. That's what makes you credible. Not because you're perfect, but because you're real. You walk through the same doubt the people you'll reach are walking through, and you came out the other side intact. What remains? The Pluto return completes its in 2026. The restructuring continues. The choice between love and fear presents itself every moment. But you've done what you were meant to do. You received, you integrated, you built, and now you're giving it away. The rest is there. And that is exactly what's happened. And that's what I've developed. And that's why I have said I was given the philosophy that could change your life and our world. And now it's available for everyone.